Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Today, I'm just going to share some of the decks that I turn to for that goddess energy, empress energy, because I've been studying her lately and I thought I'm going to dig through my decks and see what, you know, turns my crank at this moment, what's in my collection, and share it with you. So, this one is the Harmonious Tarot. And on the side, it talks about harmony through attuning to the past, present, and future. So that's, I guess, how the title for this one came about. It is a lovely deck. I have cut my version, the larger one, down. And this, of course, is a great one for travel. But I thought we'd just take a peek at some of the cards. So I don't have a lot of goddess decks, I guess, that are current. Mine are a little bit older. And there's the Empress there in all her glory. Get her in focus. And I wonder if she'll come up in here too. We'll just do a few from each deck and see what we come up with. But I love the femininity of the deck. And in the book, it did suggest, it's just a tiny little booklet that comes with the deck, one of those, little tiny white ones. But it suggests that for the Empress energy, now that looks like an Empress to me too, that you're looking at her as fertility, abundance, success. But to me, she's also an earth woman. Very kind, very gentle, very soft. She can have her hard side, but, she's the mother, she's the nurturer. And this deck does have some lovely, lovely, lovely pictures in it that bring out that sharing, loving, caring. I'd love to see what other people have that they turn to for their goddess energy. I have a few decks, so I'll show them. But I just want you to know that this is an older collection. So it's not going to be hot off the press. But, it is a gentle deck. And I think when I want to work with the Empress, I am looking for something that has a little bit of romance, a little bit of softness, and looking, I guess, for the messages on how to nurture that within myself, or, whatever I'm giving birth to, whatever I'm creating, some ideas on how to do all that. So this is the Harmonious Tarot. And these were some of the more loving ones that I could find. I love the aces because you are giving birth to something. So she does have that sort of goddess flair, but almost a little bit fae too. So that is my Harmonious Tarot. The first one, I guess, that I would turn to for that femme energy. This is another one that I find very soft, very gentle, and romantic at the same time. And this is the Lover's Oracle. Another older deck, but it does, explore relationships and, those conversations that we need to have. And on the back, it does give you, words that you can work off and try to form paragraphs if you do 2 or 3 cards in a row. So just for inspiration, to uplift and understand, I guess, where I'm at and what I'm working through. And this one is such an artistic deck as well. So that one is love is like a rosebud. It may reach full blossom or it might die softly. So not necessarily always love, but definitely relationships that we can work through as the Empress. But be kind to ourselves at the same time as being kind to others as we're working through it. The Empress has a strength. And she can be bold too. She doesn't have to always be soft. But I do think of her as nurturing and bringing things to life. You know, working through those hardships, but finding that, like the previous deck, that harmony. So this is a very nice one to turn to for me, and that's about the relationship between lovers are one of the most fulfilling as well as the most challenging. And it doesn't have to be about love, as I say, but that love of nurturing something, whatever we're working on, just to find that inspiration. And I find it so approachable, and being able to look within and just let the feelings flow. This is a good deck, and I think of the Empress as fluidity, so you know, this one gives me that. So that was my Lover's Oracle. Now this is a little oracle as well, but even though it says it's an affirmation card deck, I think there's lots to explore within here, not just the words. And this is one put out by Women and the Hourglass. And the artist is Mary Lou. But what I liked is life is an inside job. There's an awful lot that we can do in our own personal work when we take on that Empress and the goddess within us and seeing that. So this allows us to sort of step inside ourselves and find that. You know, just being ourselves sometimes. She woke up and realized hope was embracing her. You know, I think of the goddess and the Empress like a mother in that she's always taking people's emotions. I guess I shouldn't say always, but we do take on people's emotions and embracing that in order to make our lives and other people's lives better. One day she woke up and counted her blessings. So it's colorful, it's young and vibrant, simple. One day she decided to forgive herself. They are affirmations, they are beautiful, but it focuses on that inner work that we have to do. Just like she said in that little blurb at the first, life is an inside job. And she suggests that, the affirmation cards be like signposts on our journey. What are we working on? What are we trying to work through? And be patient with ourselves. So, it's not a small deck. It's got some, I forget how many cards to it, but I think I'm attracted right now to the colors and the words in here. One day she understood she had been perfect all along. Well, that would be nice to wake up to. But loving energy, kind energy, feminine energy, finding that goddess. So that was that one by Mary Lou. Now, what else have I got? This one is kind of romantic and empowering, very feminine. And this is the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. So if you're thinking of the mother, the empress, the goddess, sometimes love does come in to the picture. And there is some symbology there, like the dove for peace, finding that harmony that first deck talked about. Definitely intuition. And I get the feeling of the goddess there and the cycles. Maybe a little bit more high priestess on that card. Ancestors can come in. Healing, definitely. That's a big one, listening. So another pretty and feminine, but strong at the same time. Now, I haven't spent a lot of time with this deck. I believe it was called the Wild Woman deck. But if you're going to go into the goddess energy, like I am right now, I think this is one of those decks that certainly takes you there. It's fun, it's young, a lot of nature surrounding the images, the power of the Empress, the goddess, that each one of us can access. It's pretty good cardstock. A little bit glossy on the backs. And that's a good one, Evolution. Okay, so that is my Wild Woman deck. Now, I think a lot of people probably have this deck, and I did find it too to have that strong feminine energy within it. And these are the soul cards, and I believe this is the soul cards number 1. I liked it more than the number 2. So this is one of those decks that you sit, you ponder, you look for the inspiration. I mean, that's very much to me the Empress, the goddess. So this could be one of those decks that's very quiet. Allows us to go inward and then find those answers. Like we can be very much the hermit sometimes. We feel, we sense. So a great deck, I think, for that energy we talked about that we're working on. Now, I do like this deck, but I wish some of the images were a little bit more discernible. I guess that's the word. They have that smoky, cloudy sort of effect to them. The child within, the inner mother, the sacred waters. So it takes a bit for me to find some of the imagery in this deck. It's a little bit too soft, but it does have that motherly image in some of the cards, the Empress, the Strength. But a little bit too soft, I think. That one in particular. And I don't have much light on the cards right now, and I do like some of these because they stand out a bit more. And there's the mother line. So tapping into the ancestral work seems to be coming up in quite a few decks for working with the Empress and the Goddess. So now the next one, it's an older deck too. And this is the Goddess Tarot for Chris Walder. So I can scooch back again because it's a little bit larger. It's pretty good cardstock. It's a warm colored deck. It's inviting. I mean, if you're going to think of Mother Earth to go along with the theme, there's the Gaia card in the world. Even this one, though usually, you know, the 5 of Wands can be like a battle. This one, you know, they're working it out. I like the sun setting. I like the warmth of it. There's our Venus and the Empress. I just explored with the Thoth card is all about Venus, the planet, fertility, so that's a pretty deck too. We can be strong as well as gentle. Now this one I've shown before. This is just a homemade deck of my own, but I often turn to this one for that gentle conversation. This one is quite nice. Very much. I looked at this card as the elopement card. But there's the Empress in all her glory there, you know, stealing the limelight, looking gorgeous. And then the intuitive inner space that we explore. So, another very approachable deck that helps me get the stories going. Now, I couldn't leave this one out because I think of the goddess and the Empress very much as an earthy being, and I just find that this deck too, it just invites you in, but it lets you work through things with the use of herbs and such. And there's the Empress there. And I did note in my recent work with the Thoth card, number 3, that, you know, the use of, you know, rose petals, rose essential oils, those things that we can bring, you know, to make our work a little bit more flavorful, I guess we could say. And these are the nicer cards in the deck, the Madres, you know, tuning into that mother energy. And this deck talked with the Empress about healing the heart, that the heart heals the world, that we can be vulnerable as well as sensual, bringing our creativity in, but yet finding the medicine that heals. So being like the Empress, being fertile, being that one who is always growing. So it's a goddess energy deck, but it's earth-based, very much earth-based. So one that I can certainly, you know, add into some of the work that I'm doing. And, you know, create those potions, those healing remedies, like this, you know, sitting with some, this one I'm not sure, oh, it's mint. Lemon balm is another one to really sit with. And it's so cleansing. And it's warm, like the goddess. So definitely these cards appeal to me at this time for the goddess. This one, although it's massive in size, there is a smaller version of it, but great for videoing because you get more detail. So if we expand a bit here, you don't need to see the titles all the time, just looking at it. So there's our Empress over here. And usually her books have quite a lot of information about what you're seeing. So even though it's feminine, it's strong. You don't get all foo-foo images. The Queen of Hearts. It's neat how this ribbon points right to the heart area, and then you've got the pansy there. And I believe pansies stand for friendship. So there's symbols in here that you can access. This is the High Priestess. So another great deck, and if I was working at the altar, this is a good one to take because the images are so large. So it's a good, like the Three of Hearts, it shares a lot. And this one actually is a goddess deck with 36 affirmation cards, again by Amy Zerner. So this is a smaller one that, if you want to stick it in your purse or do several in a layout, it's not going to occupy a lot of space. But the words are strong. And on the back you get more, to stimulate your imagination. I deserve love and respect because I give them. Some of the images do repeat, and then the words change in here. I surround myself with beauty and positive people. So, it gives you those words again. I guess I should get in screen. I am content in all circumstances. That's what I mean, it repeats these. I wish that, the images didn't repeat. And as the goddess, we have the power to transform our lives, just like that. This one I didn't really like. I have all that I need to get what I want. I know the idea of it, but it seems a little harsh, a little me-oriented. So that is the goddess deck. And this one I will show without passing judgment too much, in that this is by that author we do not mention. But she does have some images in her decks that appeal to the feminine, the goddess, the empress. I have faith that your prayers have been heard and are being answered. That's the greatest mother, eh? Mother Mary. So I'm not a fan personally of the big words. I'd rather see the image. There's our Aphrodite for the inner goddess. And we can awaken it with dance, self-care, and appreciating our divinity. There are some nudity in some of the cards, if I remember correctly. Ishtar. Love yourself enough to say no to others. Demands on your time and your energy. Now, this is what I think when I think of the Empress. It is the perfect time for you to start new projects, access new ideas, and give birth to new conditions. So I'm going to end this video there, but invite you to show me so I can get more current with my decks. Some of the empowering decks that you have that I could use to escape into that goddess and empress energy. Everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's eye-opening for me. I do need to expand my collection, so feel free to offer some suggestions. Have fun today.